Welcome back to the Spank Me If I'm Wrong podcast. I'm your host, Charles Spank, the low life at rock bottom. As usual, I will be arguing with Judah,
the modest gentleman.
And today, what a glorious day it is. Happy birthday to me, as of recording. And next week is Judah's birthday, so he's going to get a spank or two. But, today we are going to be discussing whether or not birthday should be celebrated.
Ooh. Could we call this recording a celebration of your birthday?
Nope. Okay. Because we actually put this off, so it's actually like the opposite of a celebration because we could have done it a lot sooner.
Yeah.
It just fell on my birthday.
Yeah, what about the irony of that? So, I'm obviously going to be arguing for birthday celebrations today. What about you,
I thought
Charles?
I was arguing for birthday celebrations.
Oh, okay, then let's shake hands.
No, I'm not doing that.
Episode's over. We agree.
I'm good. I'm arguing against birthday celebrations.
All right,
I do
go ahead
not
and
think
elaborate.
they matter. Well, I think that I don't think like anything will happen if you don't acknowledge it. Like if someone out there didn't say happy birthday to me, it wouldn't hurt my feelings. But at the same time, if it's someone else's birthday, I would say happy birthday and it not be that big of a deal. But I don't think there needs to be like this like grand celebration or you need to call too much attention to it. Because I think, first of all, I think that, most people don't, actually care as much as they, I don't think people care as much as they show that they do. And I also think that, if birthdays were never celebrated, I don't think that it's that big of a deal. I just think it's a societal stigma.
So, okay, let me get this right. So, you believe birthdays are a societal stigma. There's something that we created not out of necessity, but out of coincidence or maybe out of culture.
I don't think it's out of coincidence. I just think it's out of culture. Like, I don't think it's a necessity. I do think that, like, people just over time, which is not that difficult of a concept to create. Like, people want attention, so of course they're going to want the day that they're born. But, I mean, I think that over time people just kind of decided that it was a good idea.
Why do you think they decided it was a good idea, though?
I mean, do you think the cavemen celebrated birthdays?
Well, I believe, like, a form of cavemen existed, but I don't believe, like, we were just sitting there, like, banging rocks together against our heads. So...
Well, okay, well, do you think that...
Do you believe in Adam and Eve?
Yeah.
Okay, so we actually have a general idea, according to Scripture, how old Adam and Eve may have been by the end of their life. And we actually have general ideas what most Old Testament, early Old Testament believers' ages were. So, like Adam, if you believe in Adam and Eve, then he was the first man. And the fact that he was recounting a day that he was given life, that kind of answers my question. Yeah, I do believe that.
What?
That answers your question. You asked me about the cavemen. Do you think they were celebrating birthdays?
No, the example you gave was they weren't celebrating their birthdays. They were, like, marking the day on the calendar. Just like, oh, I turned another year today. So, like I said, I don't think that birthdays are bad in the sense of, like, if someone says, how old are you? And let's say you're the oldest man on earth and you say, oh, I'm 130. That's a little cool. But, I mean, like, I don't think that every single year there needs to be a birthday celebration. But, like, okay, so you said, why do I think that? So, like, I think that,
Adam thought it was important to recount how many years he had been alive.
To recount, not to celebrate. I mean, we know how old we are, but there doesn't need to be a celebration.
Okay. Why do you think there's a celebration then?
I think that there's a celebration. I think that there's a celebration because... Are you saying right now or like the origins of why there was a celebration?
Origins, like where do you think the celebrating came from?
I think the origins of the celebrating, I don't think that the celebration happened like since the beginning of time. Like I don't think that there was a term for birthdays or whatever since the beginning of time. But I do think that over time people wanted to find a day to celebrate other people, and the most logical day was to have it be the day that they were born.
Yeah, I can kind of see what you're saying, but the reason why I believe that birthdays are so important, or at least celebrating birthdays are important, the reason why I feel that birthdays are so important to celebrate is because I feel like it is a day that we single out that person to celebrate, So like, I do feel like we've put a really big emphasis on parties and gifts more than the actual celebration itself. I do think we're kind of getting away from that. However, just because I think the culture is getting away from it doesn't mean that it's less important. You know what I mean?
I guess so.
So, like, even though like the mass majority are starting to believe that birthdays are a societal stigma, it's basically a large psyop by the mega corporations in order to endorse people to buy gifts. Like, mommy, daddy, I want the new Meta Quest 3 for my birthday. Well, it's his birthday, so we ought to get him what he wants. I can understand why people don't like to have their birthday celebrated now because of that stigma, because of that kind of really harsh beating that those companies have forced on us. Like, want it to me like a Meta Quest 3 for his birthday, you know?
You
So
think that people don't like birthdays because of big corporations?
no, I mean I do think it's part of it. I do think like it's the same reason why we're getting away from Christmas. Like almost like 5 years ago when I would talk to people about Christmas, it is the best holiday of the year. We skip forward 5 years to the modern day, and now when I talk to adults about Christmas, it is a lot of the adults that I've talked to about Christmas, they're like, man, it's just a psyop, you know, like with Santa Claus and the Coca-Cola and the polar bears and stuff like that. And
Multiple people have said that to you.
actually, yes, multiple people have said to me like I don't like celebrating Christmas because I think Christmas is a product of capitalism, which I'm pro capitalism, but they don't. They're starting not to They're starting to hate celebrating Christmas because of that. They're like, oh, it's a capitalism psyop to like convince people to buy more things around Christmas. You know,
Yeah.
and I think that culture is also imprinted on birthdays a little bit. Like, um, people are like, man, if you really love Timmy, then you'd get him what he wants. Which is not true at all. But in my personal view, I think that we should kind of get away from the gifts and the birthday cakes and stuff, and we should focus more on the celebration itself. Like actually researching the person that we're celebrating, like look into them and see what they would want to do or see what they like, and actually making them feel appreciated on that day. Because I feel like the importance of birthdays are to single out that person who we're celebrating and make them feel blessed to have been born. That's why I believe that celebrating birthdays is important. Now I'm not saying like you have to do birthday cakes and gifts. I like birthday cakes and gifts, and I like going out for my birthday and all that. But that's not necessarily what I'm saying, because I know some families that like in order to celebrate their kid's birthday, they do a family baseball field trip where all of them just go to a baseball field and play baseball, and they do like kind of some festivities around that, but really they're as a family they're getting out and they're making that person feel appreciated that day. You know what I mean? So I would have to disagree on you when you say like if someone forgot to tell me happy birthday, I'm not going to feel upset, or like
You'd
if
be upset if someone didn't say happy birthday. You'd hold a personal grudge.
I want to no, that's
You
that's
said I
a
have to
thought.
disagree that I
Yeah,
wouldn't be upset. You would
okay,
be
but you
upset if
but you
someone didn't
took
say happy birthday.
but you took my statement and you literally took
Because
it to
how
the
else do you put
farthest
that? Like
extent.
if someone doesn't say happy birthday,
So
then that
basically,
means
if someone stepped on your foot, you're gonna hold a personal grudge on them, and you're gonna have a death threat against them. Like,
yeah. See, now you're doing that.
see,
The
I'm
only
showing you what it would look like, what it looked like for you to
no,
say that.
you're stupid. Anyways,
Well,
so
let me tell you
no,
what I mean. Let me tell you what I mean
okay.
at least. So what I mean is, I mean I understand that things happen. If you forget to tell me happy birthday, or if you forgot to put it down in your calendar, that's okay. I understand. However, I mean like people in my immediate friend group, like. Uh, People I consider my true friends, if they forgot my birthday, then yeah, I would be a little bit upset, because that's an important day. I would have never met them, and they would have never met me if I was never born. And the same with my family too. My family should definitely remember my birthday above all things, because if they don't remember my birthday, then I really do feel less than. And I'm not saying that like
Do you not
birthday I'm not saying that birthdays are important to make someone feel good. I'm not saying that, because you can make someone feel good 365 days of the year. However, what I'm saying is it's a good reminder that there's like a 1 in a million chance that person was born, and we want to celebrate that person who hit the egg, that person who came out on that day, you know?
So okay, you would so your feelings would be hurt if somebody didn't say happy birthday.
Not somebody, just
If I didn't tell you happy birthday, your feelings would be hurt.
inner circle. I mean, if you had a good excuse, I would
If I was
understand.
just like, oh, I didn't get around to it.
Yeah, I would probably be upset.
So do you not think, because like I don't freaking care. If you didn't wish me happy birthday today, I wouldn't freaking care. I probably would have forgotten about it by now.
Hmm.
And that's not to like devalue you saying happy birthday, but I mean like if you just didn't do it, it really wouldn't matter to me. But do you not think that putting so much like putting do you not think that putting so much um importance on this specific thing is like you're worrying about stuff that doesn't really matter. So like for me specifically, if someone tells me, if they don't tell me happy birthday, I don't care. For you, you take this day and you're like, these people should tell me happy birthday, and now you're upset over something that like I wouldn't be upset about because I don't care. So you're adding more stress into your life. Not stress, but like you're adding more negative emotions into your life whenever you could just be like, ah, it's not a big deal.
Well, it's you're right. It is not a big enough deal that I would hold a forever grudge. I'm not going to hold a forever grudge for something like that. But let's say that all my family members and all my friends just stopped celebrating my birthday. To me, what that's showing me is that they could care less if I were born on this day, if I were brought into their life. See, so and that might sound like really extreme to some people, but what our viewers and what you don't understand is that there was a 1 in a million chance that this idea of Judah was born, you know, and this idea of Charles Spank was born. So, like, in like I said, you can show someone that that they're valuable throughout the year, but I think singling out somebody's birthday is important because you're showing them like, hey, like I really love you. I really love the fact that you came out today, and I really love the fact that you were born in this world today, and I love the fact that God destined you to be born on this day. So you're singling out that day, and
Do you not? Okay, so like what I think is, I think that if you know, if someone requires a scheduled day of like full recognition towards themselves, then I don't think that the appreciation towards that person. So like I don't think that if I was like, oh, it's this person's birthday, so I have to show them my appreciation. I don't think that the appreciation would be genuine. I think that it's like more of a ritual. It's just like an obligation. Well, I have to show them I care because it's their birthday. I think that if you truly care about a person, you truly respect them, or you want to show them your appreciation, I think that it I think you need to be consistent in a day-to-day basis, and then it gets to a point where like the birthday doesn't even matter, you know, if you truly like care about a person and the person knows you truly care about them, then it really shouldn't matter whether or not you say happy birthday, because if your whole thing is like that person needs to understand that they were a 1 in a million chance, they're like a rare gem, then on this specific day it really doesn't matter. Like I mean, if we took the extreme and you took away birthdays for everybody, like, and but you treated these people good, you know, on average day to day, of course you're gonna have up and downs, but if you treated them very well day to day, you show them their appreciation, I don't think that would affect them if
it's not
like
about affecting them though. That's not what I'm saying. It's not about affecting
if the
them.
birthday's for
But I'm
them, then what? Then that's saying that the
it's
birthday's for the people who are celebrating the person.
No, not necessarily. I'm not. What I'm saying is, it's about them. It's for them, but it's not to. It's not just to like boost the morale. Like, hey, we're gonna take 1 day out of the year just to make you feel good. You know, that's not what it's about. Like, although at the end of the day, they will feel better. They will have a morale boost. They will feel loved. Those are bonuses that they get out of the celebration. Not bonuses, but those are things that they will get out of the celebration. But what I'm trying to say is that you can show somebody love 365 days of the year, but we're not telling them, hey, I am so happy that you were born. I'm so happy.
You can't
And
do
I want to
that
show
on
you.
every, like you have to do it on their birthday.
Charles, you're telling me that you would do that. You're telling me that not today, not on your birthday. Let's take somebody and have them born on today.
But why would I
And
why would I want why would somebody in their right mind just say, "Hey, I'm happy that you were born." Some things don't need to be said. Some things are like, actions speak better than words. A person can know that another person was happy that they were born without actually saying, "I'm happy you were born." Like no one says
okay,
that.
and an action. Okay, exactly. And an action that I'm showing that without telling it is celebrating a birthday.
But you can do that every single other day. They can know that you appreciate the day that they're born. And I've never once thought in my head, if you want to take, the action of saying grateful that you were born, or even saying I'm very, very happy that you were born. I have not once thought in my entire life, I wonder if this person was happy that I was born. But instead I think about how close I am with this person. I think about if this person has a genuine connection. I don't ever think about this person must be happy that I was born. I think about the actual actions and the actual connections that we have made up until, I guess, the present.
Right, but this is another way that I can show my actions, number one. And number two, it's not just about, like I said, it's not only about showing your love and appreciation. Yes, it is that showing your love and appreciation is involved because I'm
What
not
do you
gonna
think the main purpose
I'm not
is?
gonna like I might host a birthday for somebody out of respect because I believe that all lives are sacred, but I'm not going to go out of my way to throw someone an amazing birthday that I have no appreciation for. I'm going to go out of my way to throw someone a good birthday that I have lots of appreciation for, or just like not even like a party, but just go out of my way on that day to try and do something for that person to show them that I love them. Either with that's a long text message saying, "Hey man, I really appreciate you," da 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 da, or maybe that's a gift, or maybe that's paying for their dinner or something. Like I've said multiple times, it's like it doesn't have to be monetary. It could be just
I
physical. It
never
can be
said it
with
had to be
actions.
monetary, but I'm saying
Right,
like
right, right, right.
it's
I'm not saying that you did. I'm
no,
just
but I'm saying it's
reiterating.
it's difficult. It's
But
difficult because you're saying that the purpose is not to make the person feel better, but we're going to do actions that make the person feel better. So if there was a person who did not like birthdays and you still do those things, like what is it? What do you think the purpose of a birthday is then? If it's not supposed to make the person feel better, but you do things in order to make the person feel better.
okay, let me tell you. One, we are celebrating life that honors the Creator. All right? When we celebrate life, not only are we trying to make that person feel good, but we're also honoring the Creator, which would be God. So we're that's like two birds with one stone, you know? So hey, I'm gonna make you feel good, but by making you feel good, I'm also honoring God. So I'm taking this day that He molded you in His image and created you, and we're going to celebrate you, but we're also going to celebrate the Lord as well for what He gave to us. Not only did He give you life, but He gave us life as well. He gave us an amazing friend who's a joy to be around. See, so that's two birds with one stone there. Number two, it's also about pausing. We're just taking a breath. We're sitting down and we're acknowledging something that doesn't get acknowledged all the time. All right, you keep on saying like, well, if I make them feel good with their action, with my actions, or like if I'm a good person throughout the year. But the thing is, you're not a good person 365 days out of the
I
year.
said on average.
Okay,
And overall, it's a
but
net
on
positive.
but on average, it's also hard, especially with people who work.
It is not
You know,
hard.
it can be hard for people who have very
All of
busy
my all
lives.
of my friends work and have busy lives. I rarely see them, but I understand that they're a good friend.
Okay, you understand that they're a good friend, but besides like if we completely got rid of birthdays, is there a day that us as friends, we just sit down, take a breather and say, "Man, Charles, if you had never been born in this world, I don't know
Why
what
would
I would
somebody
do."
say that? Like, why would you? People don't even say that on birthdays. I'm
Because
happy you were born. That's not a
because not
thing people
everybody's a
say.
good speaker though, and they can show you in different ways.
I think a
Like
good speaker wouldn't say that.
a good speakers have said that. People have told me that they appreciate me being involved in their life, and if I was never in their life, then they would have lived a
Right,
very
but they
different
didn't
life.
say I'm happy that you were born. They worded it differently. The theme can be
Right.
I'm happy you were born, but they
Right.
explained why. That's what I'm saying is like if like you're operating on the idea that like people are going to sit down and say I'm happy that you were born, but like
Okay, but
I can say those
how often
things
do
regard.
people how
I have
often
people tell me all the time I'm happy you're my friend, you're a good friend, you know, I'm happy that you're in my life. I have people do that all the time.
but how often does that happen?
More than once a freaking year.
How often? Well, I mean, how often do you think that happens where one of your friends sits down with you and he's like, "Hey man, I really
Probably
appreciate you."
probably a few times a year, but if we're taking your thing like to its extreme, like you're saying that the one day a year should be enough.
No,
Um
I'm not saying that one
no,
day a
no,
year is
not should
enough.
be enough, but
But
you're
what
saying
I'm
that it's
saying
like
is,
you're
what
saying
I'm
it's
saying
important
is,
to do it one day a year because the other days are not enough. Like what's one extra day?
no, I'm not saying that it's not enough. Well, I am saying that that we are singling the day out itself, the day that you were born.
Yeah.
Okay, so like you may get enough out of your friends throughout the year. That's right. However, by singling out the day, we are not only showing appreciation for you, but we're showing appreciation for the day itself. We're celebrating the day itself, not just you. You know, so we are
Right,
saying
but the day itself is also it's like the day itself is also about you. So like you're actually just celebrating me because if I wasn't
no,
born on that day,
not
you wouldn't be celebrating the
just
day.
exactly
Right. So the
the
day is
day.
wrapped into me. So you're basically like the whole thing is like you're celebrating that person
Right. We're celebrating that person. And as I mentioned before, we're also celebrating the creator as well.
for making that person.
Right.
So the whole thing is about that person.
Okay. Take away the gifts. Take away the gifts in the celebration. What's the importance of celebrating Christmas?
The importance of celebrating Christmas.
Uh huh.
The importance of celebrating Christmas would be the birth of Jesus.
Right. But why is that day so important?
Be why is the birth of Jesus so important?
Yeah. Why is that so important? Why is it
I
important that
mean,
we? Why is it important that we single out that day? And originally, it was on a different day. However, the Christians took solstice and they made that the new Christmas. So
okay, so
like, why
even
is it?
that
Why
is
is
like
it?
even Jesus is like it doesn't matter which day. Like it's like it didn't matter what day.
But
Like
why? But we still celebrate it though, even if it's not on the exact day.
okay, so then I want my birthday to be on a random Tuesday in April.
I mean, if that's what you want, then I'm certain we can make it happen. And as long as we're singling out that day, however, as a society, we don't do that. It's like
Okay, well, what are
your
you like?
work's
What are
not
you
going to
getting? What are
compensate.
you getting at?
What I'm getting at is that, well, first of all, answer my question. Why isn't it so important that we single out a day to celebrate Jesus' birth?
Why is that okay? Because if that day did not happen, then Jesus wouldn't. Well, don't want to say that, but like if that day did not happen, I'll just dumb it down. Yeah, if that day didn't happen, then Jesus in human form wouldn't exist.
Okay, and that's so important because
Bro, okay. Well, but I think it goes without saying. I don't think I have to explain why it's important that Jesus
okay,
was
but
born.
I'm trying to make a comparison though.
Bro, just
So
I
So like Jesus is very important to me, and Jesus is very important to many Christians because without him there would be no salvation, there would be no gospel. So why is it so crazy to assume that I'm trying I'm trying to single out a day for you?
I just don't think it's necessary for me. Like if you took the whole thing, like if you're gonna compare, like, well, if Jesus is doing this, then you should do this. Like,
But the
you
argument
know,
isn't about me or you. The argument is about generally speaking.
generally, I don't
Should we
think
be?
it would
Should we?
affect anything if we stopped.
Well, it's not about affecting things. It's
It is
about
about affecting
importance.
things.
It's about importance. I think it's
If
important
it
to
was
celebrate
if it was
birthdays.
important, that means that if something is important, that means if you took that thing away, it would affect something.
Yeah, it would
If
affect something.
okay, so if it's not about affecting, but it's going to affect something, I'm saying it's not going to affect anything.
People would stop celebrating birthdays, and people would put
Yeah,
less
that's that.
importance
Yeah,
on
of course,
life.
people would stop celebrating birthdays. People would stop celebrating the importance of life.
Hmm.
I do not think that people would stop celebrating the. Like I said again, I think that okay, if we did not celebrate birthdays, and somebody died, you think that people would be like, oh, there's another one gone. No, that person would probably get sad.
Well, I think that's like a kind of hazy comparison, but what I'm saying
How is that a
is,
hazy comparison?
what I'm trying to say is that I think yeah, we would put less of an importance on life if we stopped celebrating birthdays because I mean literally the definition of a birthday when you break down the words is your birth day, and if we stop caring about that day, then what do you think the society is going to think as a whole on life itself?
I don't think it's kind of like, I mean, I bet people in Mexico can't imagine a freaking year without Cinco de Mayo,
Which
but
is a
like,
birthday.
yeah, but we do not celebrate Cinco de Mayo.
Right.
So and we're fine, you know.
As a culture, they believe that Cinco de Mayo is very important because it's the
And as a
coming of
culture, we
age.
believe that birthdays are important. I think that if we got rid of birthdays, I think that if you depend on an external validation for being valued, I don't think like not like being self-aware, or because if you're not aware of the things that are happening to you, if you're not aware like this person wants to hang out, or this person texted me, or if you just see them once in a blue moon, if you're not like intelligent enough to make the connection, this person works a lot, therefore he cannot hang out with me these days. There, and you think like, oh my gosh, that guy must be a bad friend. If
But
you're
it's
not
not just a
intelligent enough to
dependency
think
thing,
that,
though. It's not just a dependency thing, though. You're arguing that in my head, I believe that it's a dependency thing. I don't think it's a dependency thing. I think it is a very important day. And I think that we should single out that day because of how important it is for many reasons. Number one,
okay, well,
you.
okay,
Number
yeah, go ahead.
two, the creator, God. We're celebrating his ability to mold life.
So you're saying we should celebrate the day because it's important. I'm saying that the day is not important. Why do you think it's important? Is it just what you just said, or
Okay,
like why
it
do you
is
think that it's
because
important?
it is because of what I just said, but if you had not if you were not the person born on that day, then we would be celebrating a different person.
But that's not a big deal because if like I don't like the okay, if we weren't celebrating me born on this day, you'd be celebrating someone else born on this day. I do not care because I would not exist. Like it's not like it would hurt my feelings if we were celebrating someone else. Thinking of the reality where I was not born and someone else won the race, that does
But
not
you're
affect
creating a
me.
scenario where your soul still exists at the same time
No,
as the other
I'm
person
not. No,
existed.
I'm not. And
Of
I'm not.
course you
I'm
wouldn't
saying
of course you wouldn't care if someone else was born on that day because you wouldn't have been born.
right. So like why does it
But
matter?
but you're trying to argue
No,
from a
I already know what
stance
you're gonna
that does
say.
you're trying to argue from an impossible
I'm
stance.
I'm not arguing from an impossible stance. You're just not understanding what I'm saying.
You're saying why should we care if that other person didn't win the race? That's what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
You're saying I would not care because if another sperm had hit the egg, then it wouldn't affect me at all because I wouldn't have been born. That's what you're saying.
Sure.
So, but that's an impossible standpoint.
How is that an impossible
First of all, we
standpoint?
don't have that other person. We don't have
How is
that
that an
other.
impossible
We don't
standpoint?
have the other
Do you think that
million.
other person, do you think the other sperm are crying dead because they're not getting their birthday celebrated? No, they
I
don't
feel
know.
like I feel like if the other sperms had souls, yeah, they would be upset that they weren't born.
They would be upset that they weren't born, but they wouldn't be upset that their birthday is not being
But
celebrated.
we're also okay. We're also talking in importance. All right. So you're saying, oh, they're sad because you're trying to take the stance that I would think that they're sad that their
I think
birthdays
that
aren't
there's
being
I think that you
celebrated.
can
I'm saying that they would be sad because they wouldn't be born in the first place.
I
So
think
what
that
I'm
I
so
think
okay. Go ahead.
I think that there's more to value in like I think that you can find more value in life and more appreciation in life than just like having a birthday every single year. Like I said, if we got rid of birthdays, I think that every other day trumps the individual the day that we celebrate the person individually. I think that if we got rid of birthdays, it would not matter because every other life experience that we experience up until that day overpowers that single day.
But you're talking from a personal standpoint, though. You're saying
You're talking from a personal standpoint.
no, I'm not. I'm saying
Yeah,
that
you
I'm
are.
saying that everybody's birthday should be celebrated. You are saying that if I did not have my birthday celebrated, I feel like
No, I said no.
I feel like that
No, you even in the beginning you said I feel like society is putting less importance on birthdays. So now because society's putting less importance on it, you're in the minority and you're talking from a personal standpoint.
no, personal standpoint would be me personally. I'm talking from a general standpoint.
No, it can't be a general standpoint if now society thinks that birthdays are not as important as what
But
they were.
not all of society thinks that way. That's why it's still general.
Then well, okay, then what was the point of saying society's putting
I do
less
think
importance on birthdays?
because I want to throw it out there that I might be in the minority as of the publishing of this post.
Which means that you are talking from a personal standpoint because you can't make a general statement if not the majority of people agree with it.
But what I was trying to say earlier about the personal thing is what I'm saying is you are saying that you could make more days more personable without birthdays.
I said anyone can.
Anyone can, right? You being the viewer or whoever's listening. However, you
Oh,
don't
okay.
already do that.
What do you mean I don't already do that?
I mean, you could already be doing that. You could already make other days more important through other
No,
actions.
I think that the mundane day-to-day life is more important than the one day we celebrate a birthday. Like I think that if I were homeless on the side of the road, I can still in the most unfortunate situation. And I mean I haven't been homeless on the side of the road, but like I've been in a lot of unfortunate situations. But at the end of the day, like if you ask a lot of people who get out of those situations, and you say, would you do this differently? A lot of them are going to say, no, I do it all over again because that shaped me into the person that I am. So the life experiences in actually like the good or bad life experiences shaping you into the person that you are today actually do more than birthdays because it makes the person understand the appreciation of life and the fact that they're able to even be in these situations. Like, because if you weren't born, you wouldn't be in these situations. So
I'd
I
have
think
to
that the
disagree with you
you'd have with what?
because there are some people, in fact, there are a lot of people who live the largest and then still feel empty at the end of the day. So, but in your when your argument is that if we got rid of birthdays, people would be able to live more. But
We
there are
still
some
have
people. But
birthdays. We
there
still
are.
have birthdays,
But
and
there are.
people are feeling low.
But there are some people who also don't celebrate birthdays and still feel low, and there are some people who celebrate birthdays
Then
and
that means
feel
it would be the
high.
same thing. It would be the same thing. If we didn't
But
celebrate birthdays, some
your
people would be
argument,
depressed, some people would be happy, some people would be normal.
your argument is that
If we
overall people would progress as a society
No, that's not my argument.
because they would focus more on
That's
the
not my
day-to-day
argument.
life and not just one day out of the
That's not my
year.
argument.
But that's what you just said.
That is not my argument.
But that's what you just
That
said.
is not what I just said.
You said if we got rid of birthdays across the board, that people would put more emphasis on the day-to-day life than
I
they
did not
would
say
the
that.
one day out of the year. Then
I
okay,
did
then
not say that.
elaborate then on what you were trying to say then.
I said that the mundane everyday life trumps the birthday as is. I didn't say that people would find it more important. The example that I used was the homeless person on the side of the road who makes it out would still say that they would not change anything because they got them to the place that they are today. I don't think that taking away birthdays would get them to that conclusion. I think if we took away birthdays, nothing would change, and we'd still have these stories of people rising up from the bottom, and they see that the day-to-day mundane life or the good situations and the bad situations have an important role in their life. But I think
But
what I was
birthdays don't take away from that though.
that's
There's
not
no
what I'm
point.
saying. I'm
There's
not
no
saying it
point
does
in.
take away. I'm
But
saying
there's
that
no
it
point in
doesn't
even
do
throwing.
anything.
But there's no point in throwing that in the argument if it doesn't take away or give anything. Okay.
My whole thing is that it wouldn't do anything if we took away birthdays. Your thing is it would do something. And I'm arguing
No,
why nothing would
I'm
happen
saying I'm not
and
saying
why they're
that.
not important.
I mean, I do think that across the board, people would put less importance on life. I do think that I do think that
So
way.
yeah, okay. So like I said, if you think that if we never celebrated birthdays and somebody's brother died, you think that that person would be less sad than the person than us now.
I do think as a society we would devolve a little bit because like not devolve, but probably that part of us would kind of go away a little bit. Like, oh well, like because we already have that mentality. Like it is what it is. That is the perfect example of
Not
what I'm
with
talking about.
death.
But people do say that with death though. They're like, well, it is what it is. He died. He was born yesterday, or for instance, from dust to ashes. That is that mindset. That is the mindset that, well, we come from the ground, we will return to the ground. Nothing matters in the end. We all, as a society, we are starting to think this way, and that's why I'm saying we should put a bigger emphasis on life,
But people
so we
still
don't
care. That's
continue.
just people say that like people who are living say that. The example that they use in that is like present day living. So if I went out and I committed a bunch of crimes and I said, well, we're all going to die eventually. In 200 years, I'm going to be dead, you're going to be dead, all our stories are going to be dead, so it doesn't really matter.
That is the
Bro,
idea
if you
from
right,
dust
if you
to
let me finish.
ashes.
Oh my, you are actually like stupid. Let me finish. It's
Okay.
based off of current living. When that person dies, it's not like they're like, well, from dust to ashes. No, the people are sad around them. When people use that example, they are talking about their current actions and how they are currently living. They do not think about when they die, people aren't going to care. People aren't going to dance to that person's funeral. They're still going to be sad. When people use that comparison, they're talking about the actions that they are currently doing as they are alive.
But you're saying individuals will be sad. Obviously, a mother's going to be sad when her son dies. But what about the people posting assassination videos or car accidents online with very graphic details?
But most people aren't doing that.
But okay, in a most recent example, the Charlie Kirk assassination, instead of like running to go help Charlie Kirk, a lot of people pulled out their phones and posted it on TikTok. And I think
No, that is not. No, no, they were already recording.
and they stayed there and kept recording instead of helping Charlie Kirk. There were several people who did help Charlie Kirk, but there were several people who kept recording.
But you literally watched the reactions based on the person. You have fight or flight, the people who ran to help. You had the people to run, and then you also had the people.
But it's also a
oh
cultural mindset, though.
No,
it's a
you
cultural
also have
mindset.
the people. No, literally down to our biology. You had fight or flight, and then you also had the person who froze and didn't know what to do, and they didn't know how to deal with it, so they posted it because they didn't understand how to deal with death.
But that is because of the cultural mindset of life.
You think you
can manipulate somebody's fight or flight by conditioning them. You can condition people. That's basic psychology. If I condition you to not care about life or death, then you will do things.
I would
like
argue that the people who ran to him, they're probably not thinking. They're not thinking about their own life. So
because they are thinking about someone else's life, and they've been conditioned to think more about others.
Then what is the like? If you're not like. If the return is I'm going to celebrate life, but in return I'm not going to care, like you're canceling it out. Because
so you're saying that the people who posted the Charlie Kirk assassination, you're saying that those people did that out of fight or flight response, like hitting the submit button. You're saying they did that out of fight or flight.
I said that they were not intelligent enough to understand and process death. I mean, there were probably some in there that didn't know, like they're probably just stupid or they're like sick.
But why would they be sick though, and why would they be stupid? Because of their environmental conditioning.
Because somebody died.
So you're saying that like the people who posted that, they either within an hour or within a couple days or even a couple months, because there's still more videos surfacing, in that entire time you don't think that they had the willpower to resist that? You just think that
you're taking one thing that I said and you're using that for the entire thing. I said that either they did not know how to process it and that was their way of coping, or there's people who are sick, or there's people who are just stupid.
But all three of those people are affected by the same denominator, though. They're all affected by the same thing.
Not everything.
And that's environmental conditioning, though.
Not every real life equation.
But the sick people
solution has the same equation. Or not every real life equation has the same solution. Just because one thing happened doesn't mean it's going to affect every single person the same way.
What I'm saying is that it's environmental conditioning. I think the people who post the videos have less of a value of life than people who didn't post the video. Because like you said, there were several people recording that day. Okay.
So you think that if we put more importance on birthdays, you think that more people would run to hell?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying more people would have deleted the video instead of posting it.
No, but you were against the people. You said you saw that people were posting. You saw people run, and you said not a lot of people ran to help. So obviously you're prioritizing.
No. I didn't say no. We were talking about two different things. You were talking about the people who ran versus the people who ran up to him, and then I was arguing that it's more than just left or right.
No, you said fight or flight can be altered.
Yeah, it can be conditioned.
And you said the people who ran up there.
There were people who posted the videos, and then there were people who ran up, and there were people who ran away.
You said the people who ran up there valued someone else's life more than their own.
Yeah, because we're talking about environmental conditioning. You're trying to change.
You are praising those people for running up there to help because
I was using that in an argument because you were disagreeing with my environmental conditioning. I did not I was not praising those people, although I will praise those people for doing that. But in that moment, I was not praising them. In that moment, we were discussing about environmental conditioning and how the environment
No,
changes people.
you said
Those
that not a
people,
single person
those
ran up there to help.
people.
You were talking negatively about the people who didn't run up there to
I
help.
did not say a single person didn't run up there to help. That is a
No, you
gross.
said no,
No, I know. I
you said
said
that no,
not a
almost
lot
nobody.
of people because
Regardless,
that's
but why
true.
would you
Not a
bring
lot of
that up if you
people.
didn't
Not a
put
lot of
value on
people.
the? But why would you bring that up if you didn't put value on the people running up to help?
Because of the environmental conditioning. The environmental
Do
conditioning. Now,
you value
listen
the
to
people who ran up there to help?
what does that have to do with the argument?
The people who ran up there to help.
But what
What
does
I'm
that have to
saying
do? What
is
does that have to do with the argument, though?
I'm saying that the okay, so the people who ran up there to help, the people who ran away, the people who did whatever. I'm saying that. Well, first of all, I'm saying that you put more of an emphasis. So you first of all you said that not a lot of people ran up to help. You then said that you can condition somebody's fight or flight, and then you also said that there were people who posted it. And in
Hmm.
all three of those, you could assume, or you insinuated that the people who ran up to help had the higher moral, the moral high ground.
But that's the assumption of the viewer, the assumption of you. That's not at all what I'm talking about. What
If
I'm
you
talking
took those
about is
three
the
things and
what
you
I'm
were
talking
smart enough
about
to
is
understand context clues, then that's what the assumption you'd come to.
okay. You can come up with any assumption that you believe, but that's not what
That
I'm
is not
talking
that is
about.
based off of
I'm talking
context
about
clues.
what I'm talking about are the words. I'm talking about environmental conditioning and the value of life. Okay, so if you want to change the subject and you want to talk about fight or flight, we can argue about
No,
fight or
I'm
flight.
saying
But
okay. So the environmental condition.
what I'm talking about right now is the environmental conditioning of our
No,
current day.
what
I
I'm
feel
getting
like
to.
people are putting less of a value on life, and that's why instead of having respect for the family and not posting the videos, they posted the videos because
So
we have
if
a less value on life in the modern day. Did you just
all
get
right,
kicked out?
so
Oh, okay.
no, I muted myself because you won't stop talking. Anyways, so what I was saying was if you think that you can condition somebody to care about the lives of other people more than themselves, or when someone's in distress, um, it cancels out. So what you're saying is the whole reason I was saying that was because if
Why
you
does it cancel out?
prioritize, okay, my gosh, can you like let me finish
No,
one
no.
sentence?
I
That's
want
gonna
you.
be
I
like
want you to explain that the canceling
that's
out.
what I'm doing.
Okay.
If you prioritize the people who run up to help because they care about another person over themselves, and you don't like the people who ran away, you don't like the people who posted the videos, and you conditioned all those people to run up to help, okay? That would mean that they cared about somebody else more than themselves.
Why do you keep on going back about
Oh my
about
freaking
about the morality
gosh.
of the situation, though?
Because
The
if you
reason why
let
I
me
use
finish, then maybe I could wrap it all up into one conclusion.
okay, I'm waiting for the conclusion.
Bro, because I'm not done talking.
You
Holy
keep
cow.
on
You can
going
talk for
back.
10 minutes.
You keep on going
Because
back
I'm
about the
not done.
morality, and I do not care at all about the morality. I only
Because
care about.
I'm wrapping it up into
Okay,
one conclusion.
hit me.
If we were to prioritize the people who cared more about other people's lives than their own lives, that is still this, it would cancel out because you are still not caring about your life as much as the other person's.
So
So we're in a place now where we care more about ourselves than other people. If you just flip that, it would be the same thing with an opposite equation.
okay, but the thing is, your argument is null and void because not a lot of people ran up to help him.
Bro, if you listened instead of talked over me, then you would understand that I said if you were to condition every single one of those people to run up and help them, not much would change because it would cancel out the fact that we care. Okay, right now we care more about ourselves than other people. And if we conditioned everybody to run up and help, that means that those people would care more about someone else and less about themselves, which means it would be the same solution with an opposite equation.
So you're saying if we condition more people to care about others than themselves, it would be we would have the same results of a negative response to life or a neutral response to life.
Because yeah, I mean,
How does that how does that even remotely make sense? How does that even remotely make sense?
Because if
So
you don't care about yourself, then you're
okay,
if
go
you
ahead.
don't care about yourself and you care more about other people, you see the people who just want to constantly people please. They care more about the approval of other people. They're more worried about other people than themselves, and those are the people who are the most depressed.
So you're saying that the people who care about other people are worse off than the people who care about themselves?
No, I think that they're I think that they're equally negative for different reasons. I think that you need to
Okay.
find a perfect balance into self-respect and caring for other people. But if you prioritized only caring about other people's life, or caring more about about someone else's life more than your own, there would be more negatives than you expect.
Okay, and what does this have to do about the environmental conditioning of the people who posted the
Because
videos on
oh my gosh,
Instagram?
because
I
the
don't really, I
environmental
don't even
yeah,
care
you don't
about the
understand. I
ones
know
who
because
ran
you're talking.
away.
I know you don't care because you're not listening to me. But the environmental thing, the environment. If you change the environment, it would be the same thing. It would just like it would. You'd have more people helping, but in return, overall, not even just with that one experience, overall, if you change the environment to have people care more about other people than themselves and not find a balance, then that would lead to more negatives.
I think you are utterly and completely wrong. If people cared more about them, if people cared more about other people than themselves, I think we would have less greed, less corruption, and less sin in the world. However,
No,
that's
because
just not true.
I've seen situations where somebody cares so much about what other people think and it drives them into a depression. And you've actually
But
behind the
that's
scenes you've
because
given me
okay, I
advice as to
actually I'll use myself as a personal example. I'm
okay.
actually one of those people who are a people pleaser. I love pleasing others and I love making other people feel good about themselves. It's probably one of the reasons why I'm so adamant about this birthday thing, because I really care about the lives of my friends and family, and I feel like that there's an importance of their life. However, um the reason why those people fall into a depression is not because of their selflessness, but because of the selfishness of others. So I know exactly what you're going to bring up. You're going to bring up the advice that I gave to you about gauging the selflessness. And that's
I was not going
because,
to bring that up.
but that's because most people are parasites. In all honesty, I think everybody probably has a little bit of a parasite in them to some degree. People who are people pleasers, they get a nice and good feeling about people pleasing. So and they want to get that feeling out of giving to other people. However, the majority of other people don't really care. They will take and never give. And that's why I want to talk about the gauge. That's where the gauge applies, is because other people are selfish. If we had a society where everyone was selfless, then nobody would be depressed. But the reason why those people become depressed is because of the selfishness and the ignorance and the negligence of other people. Those
You know
people
what's
don't
crazy?
become those people don't become depressed because they just give all the time. That's not why they become depressed. You have to actually go to the root of the depression. The root of the depression is that they give and they never feel like they receive. They feel like that they give, they pour their heart out into other people, and then those people never return it. So, if you want to use that in an argument, you actually have to go to the root of the cause and not just throw it
So
out there
if
as an
you're
argument.
so at its core, everybody's selfish.
Yeah, I do think so,
Okay.
to a certain degree. So, what I was talking about the conditioning. As a society, we are seeing more people post gross things online because they care less about life. Well, that person's already dead, so they're not going to care if I post this online.
I don't
When
think that's
that is
why.
not the way to you don't think that's why.
No, I don't think that's why. I
Why
don't
do you
think that
think
the reason people are posting more online
no, no,
is
not
because
posting
people are
more
caring.
online, posting grotesque or death
Yeah, oh my
online.
gosh. Yeah, obviously. Okay. I do not think that the reason people are posting more stuff like that online is because as a society we're valuing life less.
Why then?
I think it's because we have more access to it. I think that if you had the phones in the 1400s, I think that the people like I think that there were always people like this. I think that in like if you dropped the like if you know invented the phone in the 1400s, the cell phone, the modern day cell phone and internet, you would see the same thing. Like I don't think it's because we're valuing life less. I think it's just because the people who are mentally sick in the head have more access and really no repercussions for what they do. It's just like they can do it now, and there's no consequence because those people like I mean you don't know the face. I mean for the most part you don't know the faces of these people.
Okay, I don't think that everyone who posts death online are sick. I think they've been environmentally conditioned to think that that's okay. Like you said, there are no consequences.
You
But
don't
but
think that someone who
why aren't
posts
there consequences to that though? Why as a society have we not put
because it would be
consequences on
too
that?
difficult to find the person who did it.
No.
Yes. And
The
it's
reason
not worth the time.
because
It's not worth the time to
it's
do it.
not worth the time, because what's the point? That person's already dead.
No, that's not why it's not worth the time, because it's like in reality, like I'm not gonna like open up a whole FBI case like who posted this video of a freaking
But it's
ransom. Like
right, but
I'm
it's
not
not
gonna
even
do like
against it's not even against social media policies. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they all they if they wanted to, if they really wanted to, they could ban those accounts or they could block the post, but they don't. What they do is they put like a little spoiler warning, and they're like, "Hey, this has graphic content. Press continue if you're okay with seeing that." And then you press continue, and you see what happens. But that's because, number one, as a society, we are actually engaging in that in that stuff.
I think
We
that
are
you're too
enjoying the death a little bit.
I think that if you're talking to like you're thinking of the two like the online like the people like you're thinking of the people who are watching the videos. If you were to go out on the street and you said, "Hey, do you want to watch this video of someone getting beheaded?" Most people would say no. It's just the minority is the louder crowd.
I don't think the minority is the louder crowd.
You think that if you
I
went out on
think
the
as a
street and you said, "Let's
society,
watch this beheading video,"
I think
you
as
think
a,
most people would say, "Yes, let's watch this."
I think as a society, we're a little bit desensitized to it. I think I think if you worded it a little bit differently, I think people would be okay. Like, hey, we're trying to make awareness for a situation. Would you like to see this video of someone dying? I feel like a lot of people would say yes. I feel like the interest would be there.
Well,
However,
then in that case,
we're also taking
if it's for a positive thing, then that means there's going to be positive
okay,
results.
but we're also taking, like you said, the consequences away. If I'm in my bedroom by myself with my phone out and I see a video that I'm not supposed to be, we're taking the consequences away. But if you're in public, there's more consequences. Like, oh, my face is public. This guy knows who I am, who's showing me the video. There's people around me who see me going into this booth who may know who the guy is and what he's doing. There's more consequences associated with that.
Okay, so what's the point?
The point is, I think as a society, we're becoming a little bit desensitized to death, and I mean, I don't think it's a little bit ironic that we're also getting away
Do
from
you
celebrating
think
of things that like Christmas and birthdays.
Do you think that the desensitizing people is a positive?
No.
Why not?
I mean, there's like I think there's two ways that you could look at this. I think you could look at it from a positive perspective, or you could look at it like, okay, I think you could look at it from a military perspective, or you could think of it from a psychological perspective. If we looked at it from a military perspective, like, yeah, I think desensitizing people is great, because if we ever get called on to a war, that we'd have a bunch of able-bodied desensitized freaks who can just go out there and shoot and not feel anything. But if we look at it from a psychology perspective, I do think that it's bad, because these people are putting a less of a value on life, and I feel like over time we would like grow into a culture that
I don't
has
think I don't,
zero perception on life.
so the issue with like the people putting less value on life, the issue with that is the people who watch like these like gross videos, the like so like for the Charlie Kirk thing, a lot of people like were very like uncomfortable with that, and more so than watching a regular video of somebody like dying. And the reason is because that's a familiar face. You've seen him on at college campuses. You've seen the videos of him on the news, whatever. If you take a random video of a random person that you don't know and you watch that person die, the like people aren't going to react as much or be as uncomfortable as they did to the Charlie Kirk thing. And it's like
But
I
that's
said, it's
exactly
because
my point.
no, right. So what I'm saying is it kind of wraps up into your thing too, is like the like birthdays, like you would want people who are closer to you to celebrate your birthday, whatever. But the whole thing is it would not take away the value of life, because it comes back to my point. It would like the people who you're closest to, the people who you're most personal to, the fact that people just saw Charlie Kirk every single day and they're more uncomfortable with the video than a random person getting or dying on the street, like one of those videos, that
But the
shows
random
that.
person dying on the street is exactly my point, though.
Oh my
We
gosh.
should feel sorrow for that, but as a society, we don't. We should feel bad for that person that died, but as a society, we're not.
Okay, so you feel bad. So you it ruins your day whenever you hear that an old man died in a nursing home from a heart attack.
Why? I mean, yeah, I do think about that person's family and how they could be suffering. I do think about that.
But that affects you like that, like that's something that happens every single day. That like real that would affect you the same way as if I died.
Obviously, no, that would not affect me the same way, but
Okay,
still,
so
but it should still affect me regardless, is what I'm saying.
it should
It,
affect you if somebody you don't know like across the world dies. Like people die every day.
yeah, people die every day, but you should still feel a little sorrow that maybe they didn't hear the word of the Lord. They didn't get to hear about the gospel, or you should still feel a little bit of sorrow if maybe that person, family's, how that person's family might be affected. I mean, it doesn't
So
ruined my day. My day's not
yeah, no,
ruined, but that we should still put a value on life. Like
it
I
wraps
may,
back up
I may
into my
still,
thing.
I might still end up praying for that person. I
It
like by sometime during that day.
it goes back to my thing. The birthday itself does not put the value on life as another person. The experiences up until the present day put the value on life. And the fact that the people who watch the Charlie Kirk video are more uncomfortable than watching somebody else, a random person on the street, die shows that the importance of life is not being diminished. It shows that the experiences with that person, you have to have experiences with these people who would celebrate your birthday in order to grow the appreciation for that person to understand they appreciate you. And I don't think that if like my brother died or a family member died or anyone close to me died, because I don't like birthdays, it would desensitize me to their death.
You are proving my point.
I am not proving your
I'm
point.
not talking about from. I'm not just talking about from a personal standpoint. I'm talking from a
I'm talking about
societal
in
standpoint.
general. I
As a
just said in
society,
general.
no, but your argument is that
Oh
that
my.
if we didn't
Okay.
celebrate birthdays, that it doesn't matter because it's about the personal experiences, like the personal experiences those people had with Charlie Kirk, and
I
the personal
don't think.
experiences that
I
you and I
don't
have together.
think.
But what
I
you're not
don't think
understanding
that
is
if
that
we
I
stop,
don't.
if we. I don't think that if we put more an emphasis on birthdays, if someone lived in Florida, they heard the news that somebody died in California, they would care.
I think more people should care. I think more people should
But
care.
I'm
That's
saying that
exactly
just
my
wouldn't
point.
happen. That just wouldn't happen. The birthdays or not, that would not happen.
But it's already happening. We're already desensitized to death. We see
With
death every
birthdays or
day.
not,
We
that
see
would not
death.
change.
We see death all the time on Instagram and Facebook.
Regardless of there's birthdays or not, that would not happen.
I think the impact of birthdays are not like the sole driver is why the rest of the society is not
You
desensitized
said,
yet.
yeah,
I'm not
but
saying
you
that,
said, yeah,
but I'm
you
saying
said that.
if we completely got rid of birthdays across the board, yes, we would have a slow decline of desensitization.
So therefore, you think that birthdays play an important role.
Yes, I do think birthdays play an important role. I do not think they play like a vital role in the desensitization because there's multiple factors that go into that, like social media policies. Social media has been a driving factor for this desensitization because we're having toddlers and little kids look at death online. But I do think birthdays play an important role, somewhat of a role in that, because it shows that person and the people in that who are celebrating the importance of being born. You are proving my and you're proving my point by
I'm not
saying
proving your
and you're
point.
proving my point by saying why should we care about that schmuck from Florida who passed away from a heart attack? That's exactly my point. As a society,
Birthdays would not affect
we
that.
should care, but we should care even we should care
But
slightly.
birthdays are not the reason for that.
But we are talking about completely getting rid of birthdays across the board.
And that would not make me think, oh my gosh, my day's ruined because somebody in freaking Alaska died of freaking hypothermia.
Okay, so from what we've talked about today, you already don't care about the schmuck from Florida. Okay,
I think it's unfortunate, but I don't.
you
I
as a
doesn't like.
person don't like celebrating birthdays. So that shows me that
Most people, okay, go to a random person on the street and say, hey, guess what? Somebody had a heart attack in freaking New Mexico, and they're gonna look at you like, okay, And then if you ask them like, oh, when's your birthday or what'd you do for your birthday, they'll probably go into detail like, oh, I did this. It does not matter. It is not. You're taking one case. You're taking me as a person. You're taking my experiences, and you're speaking for the entirety of people. Just because this is the case for me does not mean it's the case for every single person across the board.
I'm saying as a society, I think we would be better off putting more of an emphasis on birthdays than less of an emphasis on birthdays. Yes.
You think that if we put more of an emphasis on birthdays, it would ruin people's day whenever whenever they looked up
Why do you keep
online.
on saying ruin people's day? I just told you that it doesn't ruin my day when I hear about somebody from across the country or across the world dying.
Then how much more emphasis do you? Then how much more emphasis do you want?
I do feel a little sorrow. I do feel a little sorrow.
But my whole point was that the experiences that you have with the people closest to you are more important than that one specific day that's scheduled once a year.
But it's a downward spiral. It's a
How's
downward,
that a downward
spiral. It starts with the desensitization. It starts with people not caring about people across the world, and then it grows closer and closer to home, and then we stop caring about people locally or even in your direct family because from dust to ashes because of that mindset.
You can't use that. You can't use that example because
why can't I use because but that's literally. Well, I think Charles has left the chat. He did say that his phone was on 1%. So that's going to be it for today's episode. I hope that you liked it. I hope that you enjoy. We hope that you come again in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, it's me. It's post-production Charles Spank. So first of all, I want to start off by saying I had talked to Judah and told him that I wanted to finish the episode because I didn't feel like we ended in a good spot. We literally just ended in me yelling. And he was very insistent on, I think we ended in a good spot. His reason was that we're just going to keep recycling the same stuff, but we didn't even come to a conclusion. But, he was very, very, insistent on it should be okay. I don't, if you guys don't like the episode, I agree with you. Just because it kind of ended on, a cliffhanger. You guys will never know the true conclusion that we made. But what you can probably conclude that I was once again right. Anyways, another thing that I want to bring up is that you probably realize, I'm talking in a calmer tone. I'm talking in a calmer demeanor, and that's because I don't have Judah in my freaking ear cutting off every single sentence that I say. I can talk like this. I don't have to talk like this. I don't have to talk like I have to get 20 words out in 2 seconds because I'm scared that he's going to cut me off. I don't have to do that. And if you guys rewatch the episode, if you rewatch every single episode, you'll notice that he does that. And what's actually pretty crazy is I talked to him behind the scenes and I told him that I think that Andrew Tate is a good debater. And he said, overpowering your opponent is not a way to win the debate. But you guys can see that he's doing that. There are times where, I just mute my mic and play on my phone because he just talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks. So really, we probably need to rename this Judah's Power Hour since, he wants to play host and, just go from there. But anyways, because the episode ended, I thought it would be fun to read some of the comments left since the last time we did this. We're supposed to do this every other episode, but I think we get so mad at each other that we kind of forget. So the first comment is going to come from, looks like a Braden Cole, and this is going to be on the Table is Divided episode. This comment says, confused as to why the co-host mentioned at the beginning that he would wash an unpeeled banana that he dropped. It's covered, gang. What are we washing off? To which I replied, tell me about it. In my opinion, he's an idiot. And, I still stand by my statement. I don't understand what he's washing off. I don't know. But, you guys, can probably assume that I was about to say that, but he cut me off and he didn't let me speak. So, I'm right there with you, buddy. I'm right there with you. Okay, so next comment is going to come from Steve O. And this guy said, that guy with the nut allergy, though, and implying that he's making fun of Judah. Judah then replies with, bruh, I can't help it. I then thumbs down Judah's comment, and I said if I were in his shoes, I would hope that somebody beat me up. And again, I stand by what I said. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. If I had a nut allergy, if a simple nut is going to, possibly kill me, I wouldn't expect if somebody broke into my house, I could defend, my family against that. So, if I were in his shoes, I would hope that somebody beat me up so that I understand like true pain. Because if really you're gonna walk the earth and you're gonna think that a peanut or a freaking walnut, can cause you harm, you're not ready for the real world. I actually, I'm gonna actually endorse a 1v1 bare knuckle boxing match between Judah and I. But before the match, we have to eat a handful of walnuts, and we're gonna see who walks out alive. Okay, it looks like we got a lot of comments on that episode. Okay, so this is on the to wash or not to wash episode, our very first episode. So we got a comment from Low, and he said, "All right, Judah won this one. Disgusting, Charles, disgusting." And I replied, "I'm gonna kick your teeth in." Once again, I stand by that. So, I mean, obviously, our fans are, not very intelligent. So, well, I don't want to say that all of them. This one in particular, he made a very an unintelligent statement. Because if he listened to my points, then perhaps he'd agree with me. I think that it is a societal stigma. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And to be quite honest, like if you saw me in real life and I shook your hand, you probably wouldn't remember that I don't wash my hands. But anyways, next comment is again on that same episode from Braden Cole, the same person that the first comment was from. And he said, "Heard a rumor that Mr. Spank is sick today from food, aka not washing his hands." Okay, so I guess my personal life is seeping into my online presence, my podcast life. So yeah, I actually did call in sick that day. But the person who wrote this comment, gotta be the stupidest person to walk this earth. First of all, you're speaking in fallacies. You're affirming the consequent. And if you don't know what that means you're saying that if A plus B equals C, C must equal A plus B, which is not entirely true. The example that they use is if it's raining outside, the ground is wet, that must mean that when the ground's wet, it must have rained outside. That's just not true. So to say that I'm sick because I didn't wash my hands, you're assuming that this one situation that I do is going to be the solution for every single thing. That's not necessarily the case. I could have freaking walked outside and I could have, injected, the Zika virus into my veins and I wouldn't have been feeling good. But you did mention it was from food. So, I mean, again, like it's not from washing my hands. And if you actually watch, if you're a true fan, if you watch the episode where we talk about expiration dates and dropping food on the ground, stuff like that, you'll actually hear me say that I get sick to one to 4 times a year. I get sick less than 5 times a year. So I mean, you prove my point right there. I have not been sick. This is my first time being sick once this year. So again, I stand by the statement. You're probably the stupidest person to walk this earth. And if you see me in real life and you'd like to challenge me, then I 100%, I will not falter. I will not step down. I won't do anything. I mean, I won't cower down. You're putting these claims as if you know everything. Again, I'll restate what I said. You are the stupidest person to walk this earth. Let's see. Are there any more comments? Okay, so first of all, I'm going to reread a comment that we're going to end on this. I'm going to reread a comment that we already read in a previous episode. So NLag said, wrestling. This is a topic he wanted us to discuss. Wrestling or football, which is better, healthier, cooler? I responded, stupidest idea I've ever heard in my entire life. And I think that is a stupid idea. Why on earth would we debate that? I'm not going to sit down and debate wrestling versus football. That's not even like fun to watch, fun to listen to. Like I like if I was on the street and I told somebody, let's debate whether wrestling or football is better, I would probably, again, I'd probably hope that other guy beat me up. I hope that, I come out with a black eye or something. Because in order for that to be a topic, in order for someone to want to hear that topic or talk about that topic, you got to be some kind of stupid. I'm just going to be very honest with you. It's like there's something wrong with you mentally. If you go to the doctor, they're probably going to diagnose you with something. That's all I'm going to say. But anyways, that's the last comment I'm reading today. I appreciate the minutes
of talking time. I've probably talked more in this span of time than I have the entire episode, because Judah's not here interrupting me. Anyways, regardless, I'm going to end the episode here. We're going to roll the intro. We're going to get it done. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next episode. My name is Markiplier. Oh, what a glorious day to be alive. I get to do the outro today. It's me, Charles Spank. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode, and if you did, you know the drill, folks. You know the drill. Follow, comment, share. We appreciate you guys from the moon and back. Judah, what on earth are you making me read? Anyways, if you have any future debate topics, be sure to include them in the comments of your preferred platform or email us at the officialspankpod@gmail.com. Until next time, spank you later.